Good evening and welcome back to the channel, guys. Who's all on live tonight? Many people who got online. There's a load of comments already. I've not even checked YouTube to see if it's working. It's not saying anything. Make sure, can somebody tell me if evening Stuart, let's get some of the comments. Oh, it's 23 live. Yep, we're live. So the first comment up tonight was, we'll get into the video in a minute. We'll get into all the stories that's been going on today. Seems the goalie deal has not been completed. Yep, if you watched this morning's video, Rod, you would have seen that I said that first thing this morning. I put that out, the fact that he played for them last night. People were then saying that he wouldn't be able to play for us in the Champions League. The fact that it's the qualifiers, I'm sure that doesn't matter for the main competition. Olympiacos have their shooting boots on tonight. But hail, Martin, evening, mate. We still need to sign a goalkeeper. We need a massive clear out of 11 players. We need there is players that will go. I mean, there is players that don't want to go. But yeah, let's get in some more comments. First, Tam Mack, welcome to the channel. Tam, good evening to you. And hail from Bedfordshire, hail troops. Stuart Ramsey, hail Baz. Did we get that keeper? Would that, Stuart? I said that in this morning's video. I think if we were to go, and the fact that we're still in the game, you've got to remember that the Italian transfer guru said that it was deal done, and it's not. Celtic are still in with a shout. Ewan Boy, let's get through some of the evening. Baz says, Ouija Boy, evening Baz says Paul G. Hail, wee man, says Jim. Hail, everyone. There's loads of comments. Let's get all the comments up first. Get as much as we can. Paul Emery, hail. Evening Barry, finally a day off. Oh, you've finally got a day off. What's a day off? What's a day off? Do you know that I went over a year and a half, 2 years doing Celtic videos and never had, I had one or 2 days off. Anyway, still need to do a bit of business. Need a goalkeeper, striker, and a quality left back. We're going to talk about the left back situation. We're going to talk about Kieran Tierney's situation, because I read an Arsenal blog earlier to get their perspective of the whole situation down at Arsenal. So we'll look at that in a minute. You're early. No, I'm not. 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock on the dot, UK time. I was on Paul Bears. Hail. All right. Hula hoops. Evening, says Michael. And hail, Baz. Hopefully Johnson will stay. Alistair Johnson's not going anywhere. Are you talking about Mickey Johnson? No. Evening boy girl, says Patrick. Keeper reported 50 grand. Yes, I can see it. Listen, we've just put Callum McGregor on 60 grand a week. We're now setting the bar a bit higher. If that is the wage that he's coming in at, take him. I think I was asked in one of the comments today, what about going for the Man United keeper? Way out our wage bracket. Way out. We couldn't afford him. He'll be on the top end of 150 plus a week at Man United. If we can get this Croatian goalkeeper at 50 grand a week, Celtic should be moving heaven, earth, and water to make that deal happen, because he will move to a bigger club at some point. And if we can get him in for a couple of years, if we can get him in a 5-year deal, sell him in 2 or 3 years, and once he's done it again in the Champions League, I think it'll be exciting. A wee bit worried about the Asian Cup if our Japanese or Koreans are called up. I'm not really thinking about that yet, because I think we just need to get the league up and running. Let's worry about that at the time. The thing is players for all the big clubs around the world, and especially in Europe, have to deal with these type of things. So we need to get a squad that is in it. We need backup for Big Joe. Yes, we do. Trebles aren't for everyone. They aren't that. Your boy says, the longer it's quiet regarding KT gives me hope. I'm going to go into, there was a blog about that, an Arsenal blog. In fact, I'll go into it just now. Hi, bro. Thoughts? Stuart Ramsey, hail for Banky Boy, and very soggy West Midlands, England. There's loads of comments coming through. I love it. Right, let me get to this. Where is it now? Right. JustArsenal.com. They were talking about the Kieran Tierney situation. Decent sized Arsenal blog. They're talking about Celtic are obviously showing interest in taking him back to the club. They've obviously got Zinchenko or whatever his name is, that's keeping Kieran out of the team. Frank McAvenny's also said that Kieran needs to sort of go back to Celtic to get his career back and running. Here is just Arsenal opinion on the Kieran Tierney situation. This is the website's opinion. We can all admit that Tierney is one player who deserves to get more game time than he is currently receiving from the club. Thanks, Ginny, dog. However, losing him makes no sense. We need squad depth. Having secured the return to the Champions League, the Scotsman remains a key player for Arsenal, and we could make him our first choice in other competitions apart from the league. So I wonder how we would feel about that. So that's basically like, we have players that play in the League Cup. Kieran Tierney, I don't think he would settle. I mean, that's an Arsenal blog that said that. You know, he could be first start in the cup competitions. And Kieran will never settle for that. No way. His wages are a big, massive stumbling block. Is the price tag on him. But because he's not played that much, you know, that people have been saying that his prices maybe came down slightly. So there could be an opportunity. You never know. You never say never. And especially with the way the manager's seen things out at the moment. So obviously today we've got Big Rocky signed up. We've got that deal done. That was put out this morning. Paul Baird says he can't see Celtic, KT back at Celtic. I don't know, Paul. There's a little bit, but I mean, I was reading that straight off an Arsenal blog, and they obviously see him. He should be getting more time. But Kieran himself did say, he said that he'll take his future into consideration with Euro 2024 in mind. If he's not playing for Arsenal on a week-to-week basis, and we're going into the Euros next year, Kieran wants to play at the Euros. Kieran wants to play at the highest level. You know, playing in the Champions League, he's done that at Celtic. Could he do it with Arsenal this year? Of course he could if they let him back in the team. But he wants to he can make sure that he stands out in a major European competition. And I think that's his aim. And it's obviously the aim for a lot of the Scottish guys. But Kieran has said he will think about his future when it comes down to it. There's a good one for Lorna. How could we afford Kieran Tierney? It would be magic, but I can't see it. Unfortunately, Kieran has kind of hinted that he could drop his wage demands. But the thing is, you've got to remember, when he went to Arsenal, you were then thinking, I mean, he was going to want bigger and better things from Arsenal, which hasn't quite happened. Azerbaijan CSC is in the house. Just bust the bank and bring him back. Yep, Stevie Clark picked some, mate. Listen, it'll be silly. Stevie Clark played players who hadn't played in months. This is true, but I think Kieran wants to be as fit as he can. But you never know. You never know. Stevie Clark. Remember when he was almost going to come to Celtic? My goodness. The Sevies are already claiming treble. Seriously? Listen, Celtic Argentinian women team could probably beat the Sevco. I can't wait to start. You know what this channel was about built around, and it has given them a good bit of the banter years. And I think it'll be wishful thinking. Talking about wishful thinking, we have a sell-on clause for Tierney. Was the sell-on clause not within his first contract? He has had a pay increase since then, so it's a renewed contract. So does that clause still come into play? I'm not too sure about that. But yeah, if he was to sell, I'm not sure. I need to find that out. If KT comes back, how can not do a deal like the current Buns, where they've done with the boy who flips their penalty? I don't even know who you're talking about when it comes to them, because I don't look at any of their media at all. The wages KT would have to pay for a loan. Yeah, and we could go out and buy a left back. We could that. Great News Channel says Diane. Up says Lorna, you got to love the Huns. Good for a laugh. They are that. And then there are lots of videos going back a few years where I think there's one guy that one of their supporters is actually dead now. I heard. Unlucky. Keep it up, Baz, says Diane Sloan. Diane Sloan, you're not related to Kate, are you? Anyway, let's get Proud Boys. Bring back KT. Celtic raiding the bins. I don't think we're raiding the bins. I think once you see these guys that have come in with South Korea, they've got quite a good pedigree, and there's people that know the game down there. Proud Boys are saying that we've just got our hands on a couple of cracking players. So we'll soon see when the season starts. Let's just get these players in and see how good they are. First of all, I think if they're anything near the standard of the Japanese boys, we're on to a good thing. Let's see what other Celtic... Oh, I'm talking about Brendan Rodgers. Brendan Rodgers is bringing back an old member of staff back to Celtic, and that's in his backroom staff. Jack Lyons is set to return to Celtic according to a report. And you've got to remember, Brendan brought him in the last time due to his insightful tactical analyst. He's basically a tactical analyst, and you know that Brendan loves his tactics, and he's basically going to come in and show the players what they're doing good and what they're doing wrong, and it's all about improving the players. KT's wages are still 120 grand. Let's see, where did that one go? KT's wages value is still 120 grand. He hasn't been playing. Surely he can know. Yes, and I think they're now saying that the transfer value of Kieran Tierney has dropped because he hasn't played for the last year, which tends to happen with players. So could something happen on that front? You never know. You never say never, and I'm sure Kieran would never say never either. Does the contract that he signed 4 years ago? Does it count the contract that he signed 4 years ago? So it counts. I'm not sure, but I know that he had a massive wage increase, so I'm not sure how that works. Andy, maybe somebody in the know could tell us. Naomi says, hail, hail. Reader back on radar, the Germans cooled their interest in him. I think it's going to come down to the last couple of weeks. It'll be interesting to see what squad he takes over to Ireland this weekend. And it'll be good to see what players he puts out. I think, like Brendan's first team, the first time round, I think he will try and get, well, he's got a bit of height in there. We just need to wait and see. I don't think a lot of these players weren't Brendan's signings. It's certainly not the two South Korean guys. I mean, one of them had been on the radar for years, seemingly. So we'll see how that plays out. Like Brendan's first term, it came from the bins. We do the same all the time. I thought Strachan was the tactics guy. Strachan, where's that comment went to? Strachan looks at tactics in a different kind of way. This guy is an analytic. Strachan is more tactical on the pitch at the time. And I think this guy looks at analytics of the game and the measurements of the players. He's quite into that type of thing. There's a guy on YouTube that does it for... and he goes right into the analytics of everything on players and the way that teams play and everything. It's quite good. Can't remember his name though. Sugar Donut Fona Chinky. We've got to get that one up. Sugar Donut or Fona Chinky. That's a hard one. I'm drinking Italian beer. So there you go. I think we're missing Tom Rogic type player who can unlock defence. Says, no, it's not that one. Where did that go? There we go. Stuart. Hi guys, I think we're still missing that Tom Rogic player who can unlock defence. I think we're kind of hoping that these guys that were brought in, because listen, when Tom Rogic came in, we never knew anything about him. Harry Kewell still at Celtic. Yes, he is. Harry Kewell is still at Celtic. You heard him in Japan in the background talking to some of the players. Ange didn't want to know. I think it was more the fact that Ange wasn't allowed to come near any of the players. I think there was a clause in his contract said that he wasn't allowed to come from any of the backroom staff, even ones that he brought in. Alan Morrison, Baz. Is that the guy on YouTube that does all the analytics? Strong team. Let me get Paul up again. Celtic by numbers, mate. No, it's not him. It's an English guy that I'm thinking about that does analysis. It's maybe even foreign. Strong team against Wolves and Dublin is a cert, in my opinion. I think we do have to put out the strongest team possible. You know, Brendan will know how they're going to play. He'll know how they're pretty much going to line up. So it'll be a good test for us. It'll be a really good test. Are we going to get a new goalkeeper and maybe another centre back, in my opinion? Celtic are bigger than Tottenham and City. That's a cracking YouTube name. Hopefully, I mean, this guy didn't go to Fenerbahce. So we were told it was a done deal, but he played last night for Dynamo Zagreb, and it's been linked, had been said during the night, early morning, this morning, from a Turkish reporter that Celtic were still in. Yes, I see FIFA stepping in and stopping some Saudi buys for players, or they're not paying the full fees. Are they not paying the full fees? That's an interesting conversation. And maybe we'll do a video, we'll do a live on that and talk about the permutations of Saudi. And what was funny for me, right? I went on to let me just see. This is a Celtic chart. No, where was I? I was talking about the permutations of the Saudis, and one of the funniest things I seen on Twitter was a Chelsea fan berating Saudi, saying that they're ruining football by paying too much for players. And there was lots of English fans joined on the thread saying that it's scandalous. They're paying over the odds. Said no one ever when Sky started pumping money into the English Premier League. You know, and now that it's karma. It's karma. I hope they absolutely didn't just destroy them. Personally, I think the money could run out quick down in England once a lot of the big money men from Saudi pull out their money from England. Anyway, who cares about English football? I don't. Local reports say the goalkeeper won't be coming to Paradise. They seem very adamant about that, but let's hope they're wrong. We find another goalie of similar quality. I've never looked at anything since this morning, Stevie. So it'll be interesting. Where is he going then if he's not coming here and he's not going to Fenerbahce, because the Fenerbahce deal was meant to have been done. I can't see them Fenerbahce saying, yeah, you can keep him to play a game in the Champions League. I can't see that at all. I think we're going to hear someone coming in, and it'll be someone no one expected. Watch this. I've been saying that for a couple of days now. 1888 CFC. I've been saying that the way that they brought in Rocky from Legia, that no one even had a sniff of that. There will be comings and goings in the transfer market. That's a definite. I think it will definitely happen after this week. How many trophies of the Saudi League will be on Sky soon? Listen, I read a thing that the Saudis are, I think the English League is something like 280 million a year, the TV deal. The Saudis are looking to have a TV deal in the next 5 years worth 480 million a year, a season. So it's going to make the English League look absolutely pathetic. Players are no longer big managers. Once the players, there's players jumping over and for decent money. And I think that'll be the next thing as a challenge is, it'll not be seen. Managers will jump ship. Managers in the English Premier League will jump ship. And there's one for you. Will Ange Postecoglou end up in Saudi Arabia? Dear, right. Rosie Lee says Ukrainian keeper might be worth a look. Is it Real Madrid? The keeper price tag is around about 15 million. It was interesting to see that Celtic brought in a Brazilian female player in the women's team. And obviously an Argentinian player. Where is it? Celtic. There we go. Yeah, Luna. That'll be interesting. I tell you, the Celtic women's team have got in some players this pre-season. It's going to be interesting with them again this season. Let's get back to the comments. I think it's going to be unstoppable. I think they're going to be unstoppable this season, says Andy. You never know until the first ball's kicked. Could the Premier League get in? I like this one. See the Spurs are in big trouble. Is the Spurs owner? Where's that one go? Love it says, I see the Spurs owners in big trouble. Who cares? Don't really worry about Spurs. Have they sold Kane yet? For 100 million. Hi, guys. At last here, Joseph. Hail. Yeah, you made it tonight, Proud Boys. They said they were better. English Monopoly. They said they were better together, but English Monopoly on Sky and BT. Money starved in the Scottish League is 150 million for 5 years. Yep. The English League is it's just been absolutely ruined by money, and I think it'd be absolutely. I wonder if I change the camera, that'll give you a better angle that way, won't it? So that I'm not. There we go. So, but you'll see what's on the TV. Nothing. Yeah, I think that the English Premier League will get a big kick in the Jackses if managers start jumping ship and going to Saudi. Anyway, let's get back to Celtic. Can't wait to see the EPL fail on its arse. Right, I'm going to see what other Celtic news is kicking about. What about Hearts? The Hearts CEO said on Sky that obviously they're going to keep the Edinburgh Derby. They're going to keep the full away end for the Edinburgh Derby, but all other clubs are basically going to get one block of seats. So that's going to take Celtic down to about 650 seats. Absolute shambles for away games. I think when Sevco set the bar of putting down away fans to that amount, is it good for the Scottish game? I don't think so. I think it's killing atmospheres at games. And especially if Celtic start running away with the league again, and then you go to the likes of Tynecastle and they're sitting with half that stand empty. I mean, Kilmarnock come out and said that they actually made money with the fact that they never had Celtic Rangers taking that big allocation. I don't believe a word that they say. Let's just see what happens with the season, but it'll be interesting. But I do think it's bad for the Scottish game, the fact that they're knocking down allocations at clubs left, right and centre for away fans. And as you say, Celtic will have to just do the same. So back to the Dominic Fenerbahce story. It hasn't been done. I'm just trying to see if there's anything else updated, but there's not. Let's go on to Yang. Did you see that interview with Yang, actually? He obviously did his first interview today on Sky, and not Sky, on Celtic TV. And it was funny with the translator sitting. And I'm actually positive that the translator turns around to him and goes, I don't understand a word that these Scottish guys are saying, so we're just going to make it up. But there was one of the questions is on one of the videos the other day, and it said, how will Brendan cope with all these foreign players? And it's pretty much like any big league. You know, the players go to any big. We need to start remembering that we're a big club. I mean, fair enough, we play in Scotland, but if we've got any, I think that's one of the reasons Brendan made sure that everything that was in place that he'd spoke about beforehand, his term at Celtic before, are things in place to take the club to the next level. And not just, I don't mean level as in, I love it, you've love it. You just know you've moved the lampshades. She's moved the whole living room around. I went home for a few days and she moves everything around. Anyway, back to what was I talking about? You always get me mixed there. See what I mean? Leave them supporters at massive soon business without them. Yeah. Right, Celtic Yang. That's where we were. Yang. Right, we're talking about Yang and his first interview, and he obviously speaks a little bit of English. It's not fluent, so he did get the translator to do quite a bit of the talking. And he said that Big O talked him into coming to Celtic. So yeah, Big O doing his job for Celtic. Brendan can speak about 3 or 4 languages. Yep, he can speak Scottish, he can speak English, and he can speak Irish, and he can speak, I don't know, he's meant to be able to speak a bit of Spanish. He spends that much time over here. Let me see, big up folks. I would travel to Zagreb and pick up the Croatian goalkeeper, no problem. I think a lot of us would, but there was somebody saying that the local media over there are now saying that he's not going to be going to Celtic. So we'll see how that plays out. Paul Baird says the smaller teams cry about finance, but they want to play with half-empty stadiums. I've said of selling tickets to away fans. Yeah, Paul. I mean, going back. I mean, I stopped going to away games in 2019. The last away game I was at was actually Rennes away, and if I had thought for 1 minute that had been my last away game, I would never. I would have said you were mad. So yeah, Rennes away. I've still got all the pictures and videos on my phone actually. All these years later, that was my last away game, Rennes. Yeah. Right, he speaks trebles. I think, yeah, talking about the Scottish clubs and the situation in Scottish football, you know, playing to half-empty stadiums when Celtic aren't there, you know, their fans walking out when Celtic go 3-0 up, you know, it's just unbelievable. So, I don't know. They have to do something with Scottish football when it's probably making, I would actually like to see the league made bigger. Get away from playing this 4 times a year. This 4 times a year was all brought around for Sky to manifest. They got 4 Celtic Sevco games. I think that now has to be put to bed. You know, they're saying there's the Edinburgh Derby and stuff. They're keeping the big crowd for that. And that's just so they get the atmosphere at the TV for the TV. If you were to put down the atmosphere for away fans for the Edinburgh Derby, Sky would probably pull the plug on it anyway. But what will be interesting is this guy that's came in from Apple to Celtic, and it'll be interesting to see how they see selling the rights around the world on a future going basis, because I don't think he'll lie down to Sky, not after coming from the industry that he's came in the past, the music industry, and then at Sky with the online stuff. The Korean translator Gil will have a bigger trophy room than Sevco soon. Let me see. Mark says, a bit surprised Ange hasn't come in for some of our sports scientists. I think there was a clause in his contract saying that he wasn't allowed to come near some of our staff within a certain time frame. Not sure what that was, but it has been said. Celtic media team is useless in my opinion. I've got to say, Mark, having watched Celtic media for a number of years, and especially on YouTube and things like that, I think that they've came on leaps and bounds. They've obviously got right. Jenny, get out of there. Get out. Fucking beat it, Doug. Right, I think the Celtic media team have come on leaps and bounds, and compared to what they were a few years ago, and it is a bigger team that are in the background now. So I think things will improve, and I think that's why this guy's been brought in on the board of directors from Apple to take us to the next level, especially when you see some of the TV down south. I mean, even if you look at fans media down south, if you look at that United stand, I mean, they do a massive amount of views every video. Talking about 200,000 or 300,000 views a video. Celtic channels get 500,000 views a month if you're lucky. The whole channel, they're doing one video that's doing 200,000 views. So it's just a different level. Aberdeen are doing the same with away games. Yep. If the smaller teams want to go bust, let them go bust. Yep. 90-second clips are a joke. And they're only getting Celtic TV and it annoys me. Yep. The 90-second clips I think it's just a way of them putting out short clip content. They'd actually be better putting out shorts. There's more chance of the shorts actually getting a bigger audience. I don't know what Celtic are playing at just now. They're definitely going through a transition when it comes to the media team, and it'll be interesting to see how they get on. I think get back to some of the comments. Paul Baird actually speaks, said Proud Boys. Yeah, Paul does talk a lot when it comes to the live ones. He does dump Sky TV, BT Sports, etc., and let's upgrade our Celtic TV and stream our own games and live subscriptions. It would make us millions. Yeah, it probably would make us a lot more money. I think Celtic TV could do a lot more. It's went stagnant over the last couple of years, but it has got better than in the last 6 months. I will say that. Some of the editing that I'm seeing, especially for the YouTube stuff, they've got a different video editor, which is good, because it all comes down to the video editing. They can get a camera, they can walk about with their camera on their gimbal, and they can record stuff all they want. But if you've not got a decent video editor in the club, a decent video editor is worth his weight in gold, especially when it comes to YouTube. And I think that's where Celtic have increased their budget, we'll say. And let's get some more. Aberdeen Stadium always empty. It's like a morgue. Yep, I can remember going to Aberdeen when they reduced our allocation the first time, and the behind the goal section that was just to our right, it's always half empty. Always half empty. It's an absolute joke. Anyway, Stephen says hello from Nicaragua. Wow, Stephen. How's it in Nicaragua? Yeah, it's better to be hot, a bit hotter than here. I've just put the air conditioner on 10 minutes before we went live. I'm fluent, and says Edward Driver. 6 a.m. buses up there to Aberdeen. Yeah, it used to always annoy me that you have to get the buses up early because they put the games early. You can bring back the good old days when you used to be, and that's ought to come down to Scottish Police. Scottish Police have got a bee in their bonnet after the Focus team was kind of disbanded, and all that nonsense with the video and the fans, although it still does go on. But I think after they got their knuckles rapped quite a few times, and then, I mean, that's going back to the early days of the sort of 2014 season, when all that was really started kicking off. It was just pure nonsense. And Police Scotland are just trying to kill football altogether. They seem to think that the ultra scene in Scotland's going to turn into big casual riots like it does in Europe, but it's never going to happen. Mark Brown says they aren't getting the money Celtic so badly want from us. It is. I mean, Hearts put out this stupid statement saying that they were looking after their own fans. Liam, it is a cracking talk. Yeah, and it's original too. It is an original. Yeah, Hearts said that they were looking after their own fans. Yet, when it comes to the Edinburgh Derby, they've got an agreement with Hibs that they'll still get the full stand. So it's okay for Hibs to get the full stand, and then they do the same. But when, I mean, there used to be a time that Hearts would bring a decent away fan base. Now they can get the same as what we get. Bugger them. Do you know what I mean? If that's the way they want to take Scottish football, and it's petty, it is petty. Should Celtic be the bigger club and say, no, we'll give you 3,500. If you want 3,500, we'll give you 3,500, and then make them look stupid. I think we should do it. But anyway, Stephen's a pure liar. Probably was. The ghost tap was coming out. Or was it a turkey knockoff? The white one, I'm not too sure about. Shorts get good attention, can help growth of the channel. Yep. Let me just get that one. Shorts get good attention, but the problem with shorts is people that watch shorts on YouTube generally don't watch long form content. And as a fan base, you could pick it up and it will get your reach out there to other people. But generally, shorts, in my opinion, you need a separate channel for that, because they can do okay, but what you get paid for shorts is ridiculous. 0.0002 pence per 1,000 views or some nonsense. But anyway, moving on from that. Possibly why Apple are involved because Celtic took somebody from Apple and put him on the board, and he's on the board at Celtic, not Apple anymore. It's a bit of convo. Some Ewan, give them all three. I'll change them soon. The new Aberdeen bypass. I haven't even seen it. In fact, is that open yet? Yeah, it did take a few hours off the run. When did that open, actually? The Aberdeen bypass, jeez. I remember when they were talking about that getting built when I worked up in Aberdeen in 2010. Let's get to some more comments. So what position do you think we need to strengthen? It's definitely goalkeeper. We need to bring in a goalkeeper that can push hard. I think we need maybe another striker. I'm not too sure, though. We've got a holding midfield player just brought in. So it's hard. We didn't need 5 or 6 players at the end of last season. And I think we're all getting carried away about the amount of players that we're bringing in. And yeah, we were told that we're going to bring in quality. But the fact that these players have been in, we need the goalkeeper and left back. Goalkeeper and left back. Striker, I'm not too sure about. My biggest issue with the striking position at the moment, if Kyogo does get an injury during the season, with his shoulder and he has to go and get that operated on, is he going to be out for 4, 8, 6 weeks, 12 weeks? You know, that could take a big chunk out of the season. Do we have good enough players in that can step up to the mark with him? It looks as if Dyson could probably play through that position. He could be a complete revelation this year. Watch out for that one. Say that Taylor needs a challenge, because, yeah, I think he does. They'd make a rich Apple the next shirt sponsor. No, I don't think so. I don't think that at all. I think it will still be who it is. But let's see. Taylor needs challenge. I'm going to see what Celtic News is kicking about. There's been any updates. So the Celtic are about to take over the Aviva Stadium. I'm not sure about that, because there's loads of the Scottish buses that I know that would have went, guys that aren't running buses. So I don't think that Celtic are about to take over the Aviva Stadium. There definitely won't be a lot of English fans there anyway. Rodgers could land lethal Abada partner. Let's see what that one is. Could Rodgers go for a back three? That's interesting. Do you think that we could go to a back three this season? Play a 3-5-2? That'd be an interesting move. That would be something that I'd like. It's something that I've always new sub for Fab Channel chat for that. Just for that one, one shot Shirley. You just done that just to get a comment, didn't you? We need a bigger stadium. Do we need a bigger stadium? The Celtic main stand is meant to be the money, the cost that would put to the club. I think it's about 100 million to really develop that main stand. I don't think that Celtic are going to do that. Not a chance. I think the stadium only cost us around about 45 million when we built it first time round. So I can't see that. Can we sign Morelos for laughs? Well, sign him just to keep him on the bench and play him in the B team. Plenty of tickets still up for the Dublin game, says Paul. Yeah, I just seen a blog saying that Celtic were about to take over Aviva. I said I've got a chat with some of the bus conveners on it, and buses that would have been going years ago just aren't going this year. It was too late. It's roasting here, Baz. Where are you? Because it's roasting here as well. Morelos for Greg's FC. I think we need one or two to stick with a back three. Yep. Could the players that we've got at the moment play as a back three? That'd be interesting. It would mean keeping Starfelt. Right, let's get Joseph up at Hill. Baz, Celtic need to get out of the Scottish League. It's been spoken about in many years. Why the Celtic fans put up with it. I don't see the whole getting out of the Scottish League as the answer, because then you've then got away game issues, and we've got a fantastic support for away games. I know guys that have went to home and away games for 30 years now, and they will not stop going to away games. I know guys that go to every single European away game. They go to every single away game in Scotland. They basically live their life around Celtic, and they book holidays on international weeks so that they're not missing Celtic games. So coming out of the Scottish League would create all sorts of problems for that. And I don't know. I think the increase in the Champions League has been seen as a way to create more revenue for clubs at the higher end of the market. I think the whole European League would have been a whole better thing to have, rather than coming at the Scottish League altogether. Can we sign Charlie Adam? No chance. It's definitely limited. It's out. We need another proven striker. I think we do, but you know what Brendan's like. He'll see what the guys that have got first of all before he goes out and make anything. But then you don't know. You don't know what's going to happen. We're all at a bit of boys not released yet. Ibaz get me on that bus with the boys every away game. There's quite a lot of buses to go to every away games. I mean, there's a good, there's loads in Scotland go to plenty of away games. Anyone agree that we're on a treble winners? We didn't need an overhaul on this channel. Yeah, we didn't need a massive overhaul, and I'm surprised that we've brought in so many players that have potential. But it was all been spoken about, and Anne spoke about it last season, the fact that we didn't need a big overhaul of the season. The big worry for us this season was the fact that we were going to have teams that could possibly come in for our players. And that was the only big worry that we had this season. Now we've lost one big player. So you automatically thought that we were going to go out and sort of spend some decent money on players. The whole McTominay thing, that's been knocked on its head. Man United won 45 million for him. That's never going to happen. I think our best chance I don't know. We've no idea. Celtic are keeping things that close to their chest that is unbelievable. 3-2-5 with O and Kyogo up front. O can use his physicality and take the weight off Kyogo. Exactly. I've said that before. We kind of got a hint of that towards last season. But Kyogo kept on sort of getting pulled out wide whilst O went through the middle. I think we need the two. I'd love to see us playing with two up front. 3-5-2. Definitely. It's the way that Celtic play. But then again, you're going to lose out, and the likes of Taylor and stuff like that are going to, where are they going to fit into that team and into that system? Paul Tim has an in Celtic. Have you been watching Paul's videos? He got tagged in a video. He's still in South Korea. And I tell you one thing, fair play to Paul, because he's another guy that goes to games home and away, and he must have some Celtic air miles, I tell you. I think Abada says, I think Abada will go to the next level this season. I think so too. I think going back to the whole thing this morning I was talking about in the video, and the fact that a player it was suggested that he said that one manager was good at the other. I mean, Matt O'Reilly turned around and said, no, what I said was different management styles. One manager didn't speak to you, and never said hello, never said how's your day, never said sort of like what is, you know, he would. The only time that he spoke to you was, what do you want to achieve in football? Where do you see yourself in 5 years? It's like a typical bloody job interview, wasn't it? So, but Brendan's come in and he likes to talk to the players. He wants to see everything about the players. You know, he wants to know everything about the players, and that comes from the tactical side that Brendan has in the game, his knowledge of the game as well. Brendan's a fantastic tactician, and all he does is wants to know as much tactical information and data. He's a great fan of data in the game, in the modern game. And I think that's what will help take our players to the next level. And I think that's why he's bringing the guy that we had back before Lions back just to look at the insights, the tactical side of the game. And I don't mean the tactical during the game. I mean the insights of the what his performance was. He'll look at all the data for the performance of a player during the game. You know, what their heart rate was, what their heart rate was when they were doing runs and sprints, and there's all these different things that he's going to bring to it. Key one looks a player waiting on for. It's like standing outside Boots waiting for a bird. Jesus. Love it when you're shot with the misses. I have no idea what he's talking about. Anyway, key one looks a player. And we have judgment. Yep. I think Kalmak pushing Hatate. You've got to remember, we've just brought in a player that is a centre midfield player and defensive midfield player. So he's going to play in that, by the looks of it, he's going to play in that Paul Lambert, Neil Lennon type role, a role that Scott Brown eventually went into in his later days at Celtic. And if that pushes Kalmak a little bit further forward, and then what does that do to Hatate? And that will push Hatate further out wide, which if you're playing two up front, gives us that flexibility to completely annihilate teams if we go for the 3-5-2, definitely. You're having a good conversation amongst yourselves tonight. Let's get some comments up. Goalkeeper Defo. Can't wait for the start of the season. You've not got much longer to wait for that. What do you think the goals will be? The score? What do you think the score will be in the Ross County game? It's a hard one because the first game of the season is always like a 1-0, 2-0 game. And says he keeps away from the players. Yeah, Ange did say that he keeps away from the players, which to the detriment of him, I think. And he did put a lot of, and he admitted that himself, he puts a lot of pressure on John Kennedy. And that's why he wanted to take John Kennedy down south of him. John Kennedy knows his stuff inside out. John Kennedy will probably go into management sometime in the future, but you don't know. He's been at Celtic that long. He knows the club inside out. If anything goes wrong with managers, he's there. You know, it's good to have that. I mean, we've had it in the past. Danny McGrain was at the club for so long, and still involved at the first team level. Our average player age is still only 25, which is tremendous when you think about the fact that under Neil Lennon, towards the end of his second stint, the average age was in their 30s. So the fact that we've got a really young squad, and remember this, there was a manager once went down to England and he got rid of all of the most experienced players in a team. And everyone in England says you'll never win the English Premier League with young boys, a young team. And then Fergie dominates the league for the next 10, 15 years. So if we can do something similar, and it is all about domination in Scotland, you know, let's not kid us on anything else. It's all about just total domination and make sure that we win the league every year. Cheers to that. Let's get back to the conversation online. Good night. Kennedy, future Celtic managers. No, I don't see Kennedy as a future Celtic manager. I think keep an eye on Scott Brown and keep an eye on the players that Celtic send down to Scott Brown over the next couple of years. That's the one to watch if you ask me. I've just got a funny feeling about it. I always remember Roy Aitken telling my dad when he left Celtic, he said he'd be back, because obviously Celtic had the tradition of having captains come back to manage the club. And Big Roy told my old man, he says that he would be back to manage Celtic one day. Obviously, his career went a different path than he thought it was going to go. But yes, it is gluten-free beer. I thought I would try it out. Gluten-free beer. They're actually, this is going totally off topic, but see over here, gluten-free range is a full aisle, a complete full aisle of foodstuffs. It's mad. It's brilliant, but it's good. It's good for you. Yes, it is gluten-free beer. Sure. The atmosphere would be amazing if we had the bigger ground. It would be amazing. But my only concern is yeah, we have a ticket system already that is, a lot of people are saying, inadequate. And I know how many buses come. Look, there's a guy taking 6 buses from Ireland down to Dublin this week for Celtic games. Now, he could run 6 buses from Belfast every week, but he just doesn't have the tickets. So that shows you the Celtic support that is out there. Could we get that number over? Logistics say that you couldn't get 6 buses over. But it's the fact that we have a ticketing system where if you've got your season ticket, you can't let anyone else use it. So we'll have to sort that out. I think the Celtic Trust have been talking about that for a few years. It's something that we need to sort out. So I don't know. Having the bigger stadium could be a benefit, but on a cold December night, and you've got to always remember about the 2 weeks before Christmas, there's always a lower attendance at games. It always has been. Historically, there has been, and especially if it's a Saturday afternoon game, because people are already doing Christmas shopping. Anyway, do you think Summer's getting groomed to be the new Kalmack? Yes, I do. I think he is a player that will bring in slowly during this season, and I think that you'll be looking at him. If he can come in and do the same as what Kalmack's done, we're going to have a fantastic player on our hands. Beals at home. That's not the one I wanted to put. The only way to expand the ground if there is a European League coming. Yes, I think. Look, when you talk about expanding grounds, you have to have the fan base there that can get to the games easily, or you have to have a high destination for tourists. Now, if Celtic build the hotel, if they get their finger at their arse and build the hotel that we were all told about, that was going to go in places where the ticket office is, get that hotel built. What are they waiting for? Then increase the stadium size. Barcelona have just knocked down their stadium. They want to make their stadium bigger. Right? Barcelona want to get more seating capacity. The Bernabeu, Real Madrid they're going to knock their stadium down, and they're going to have one with an enclosed roof and everything. So there has to be the people there that are going to come to every single game. And I think the fact that we don't have a ticketing system that allows you to give your ticket to someone else when you're not at the game, I think that's the big issue that we need to sort out. Mine getting Dublin for 1, and getting Aberdeen. Getting a bus to Dublin at 1 a.m. to get to Aberdeen for a 12. Yeah, there's loads of buses do that. And I take it, who would it have been that you had that bus for then? Would it have been Andrew? The buses for Dublin have got to leave at a ridiculous time in the morning. Shamey's bus for Belfast, they've got to leave at ridiculous times too. And a lot of people give the Irish fans stick and everything, but they spend a hell of a lot of money. I mean, I know there's buses that come over from Ireland that basically they've got to stay, even for a home game, a Saturday home game, they're not getting the ferry back until the next day. So they've got hotel cost to win. I mean, we moan about the price of ticketing, and people moan about the price of going to football. Celtic fans spend a hell of a lot of money going to games. I mean, you can go to Celtic games as cheap as you want. You can get the 50 quid season tickets for the kids, which is fantastic. Both my kids had these season tickets when they were younger, right up to they were 16. The cheap kids tickets are fantastic. It's brilliant at Celtic. But we do need a system that when you're not going to the game, you can legally hand your ticket over to someone else. And I think the money that Celtic fans spend is just absolutely phenomenal. And that's another thing when it comes to away games, the amount of pubs that are missing out. Because when Celtic go to pubs before games, and I can remember going up to Ross County and we packed out three pubs completely. And we used to do the same at Kilmarnock. There was the one with the bowling green outside years and years ago. Anyway, let's get some more comments. Respect for the Irish fans. I'm fortunate enough not to stay within 10 miles. Walk with Paradise. Yep, hated the Hunskelper. I've got total respect for, and I've got a lot of good mates that come from Ireland that go on the buses and run buses. And I'll tell you one thing, it's a full-time job following Celtic when you're doing that. What happened to Adam Montgomery? Is he still at Celtic? I'm not sure about that one, actually. I'm not sure about that one. It's went off with quiet. I think he's maybe one of the No, he's went back out on loan, hasn't he? Because he was at St Johnstone last year. He's away down south. Can't remember who to, but I'm sure he's away down south. With the financial aspect affecting football leagues all over the globe, you think that international league structures will spring up soon. I think the way that Saudis are taking all the best players to go and play in that league, and you've got to remember, they're only giving them 1 or 2 year contracts. So it's going to be interesting come the end of these contracts. Will they then demand a transfer fee for these players? Saudis that much money. They'll let the players go for nothing. I think it'll be interesting to see in a year's time the players that got put on a year's contract to see if they walk away for absolutely nothing and then sign for European teams again. Teams that are on 2 years going to have to wait 2 years for that. Hail from Armagh. We need a striker, Asian. Do you think we need an Asian striker? Miranda is sorry I'm late. I'm making my man something to eat. Don't make it myself. Jesus. Says the man I got his dinner made from just before he came on air. Yeah, he went to Fleetwood. That was it. He went to Fleetwood. He did. He went to Fleetwood. And that's why I said, that's why I said earlier, watch the players that Montgomery went to Fleetwood. Watch the players that Celtic send down to Scott Brown. Because that will show you what Celtic are thinking about for Brownie for the future. And he'll be seeing how well he can develop the players. Stuart is asking Miranda what she had for dinner. Right, I'm going to see if there's any other Celtic news come about. Honoured Keewan is excited for Celtic and what he thinks the Celtic fans will see from him. There's not a lot of Celtic. That's why it's awfully quiet just now. Celtic have been drip feeding us content, and they waited until this morning to put out the Rocky deal, and it was Wednesday morning. The other ones were put out on Monday, so they're either struggling for content or they're not wanting a lot of information put out about training and stuff or players. I don't know. Stuart Ramsey, the depressing meal convo. Fleetwood. Let me get this one up. Mark says the whole Euro needs to go by the FFP rules. Wages only go to a percentage of income, etc. Where the fair play rule is in Saudi. There isn't any fair play rules in Saudi because they're basically trying to build the biggest league in the world. They're outside Europe, so it's like, so what? Once they get fed up of it, they'll drop it like anything, if you ask me. Anyway, let's get this one up. R.I.P. Rangers. Rocky's been singled out as the main man. The main signing, what they've done. The fact that he's a defender, I think about what are you actually talking about in the comment section? See, the comment section on this is actually funnier than the whole video put together. Steak pie and totties. Oh, steak pie and totties. Oh, not steak pie for ages. It's the first thing I did when I got home last week. Straight to a chippy. FIFA have their own financial fair play rules. FIFA are a joke. FIFA are just a joke. It's all about backhanded money to FIFA. The fact that the World Cup went to Qatar, which it should never have done, purely for the heat, if anything. Right, let's get back to as Hoopy signed a new contract. You want to see Hoopy just have a square goal with one another, especially at the away games, that big bird that was going. Right, let's get some more Celtic FC news. Is there anything coming up? Checking all the Celtic blogs. There's nothing really new coming out. It's a bit of a quiet one tonight. The big news is obviously we've got Rocky in the door. Keewan done his first interview at Celtic. We're coming up to the 54-minute mark, 55-minute mark. We are going to call it a quits at an hour tonight. Has been a wonderful hour as normal. Watched the Celtic podcast last night. Studies Korean leagues. Let me just catch this one up. He said Yang is an unplayable last year. Yang got player of the season, the young player of the season last year. And you don't get that without being a crappy player, no matter what league you're in. So I think we're going to be pleasantly surprised. Man City proves money talks. Yep, Man City does prove money talks, but the fact that Man City could then be losing out, the first big player to leave the English Premier League and jump over to Saudi will be a complete laugh. Anyway, 6-0 Ross County. Nah, Stuart, I think you're way off the mark. 4-0, maybe. Opening day of the season. As I said, it's always strange opening day of the season because the players go out for their warm-up and then they also got to sort of come back in. We've got to get the flag day done and dusted, and there's kind of standing about. It's not like when they lift the trophy and there's all that excitement. They're just standing about waiting on the board, doing their things and then getting off and then getting back onto business. Hail. Baz says, Sean, big clubs make a company up just to sponsor the club. It's an easy way around financial fair play. Yes, it is Flag Day 5-0, says Mark. Hey, Mickey, did you know that it signed a Polish defender, Norrocky, who was asking that? Yeah, we signed him today. Flag Day, I'm going to go for 4-0. We're a week and a bit out. We're way ahead of what we should be giving predictions. We will tell you what, we'll do it live on the Friday. Let me just double check things on the old calendar. And we are, that's July, going to August. If we do Celtic Saturday, so if we do a live on the Friday, we'll do a Celtic predictions live on the Friday before the opening day of the season. So it'll be 6 o'clock, and that maybe going for an hour and a half that night. Just because it's Flag Day the next day, just to get a bit of excitement. Might try and get some rebel tunes on in the background that will not violate YouTube's algorithm or monetary things, whatever. Love It says, as long as we win, pick your starting 11 for the game first. Yeah, we'll do that on the Friday before the game. We'll have a pick our starting 11. We'll not have any idea who the starting 11 will be, because generally what managers do for the first game of the season is they will give the players that finished last season priority so that they can see the flag put up and things, and then a lot of the new players will come on as substitutes. I think that's maybe the way that he might play it, but you never know. Brendan might just go, right, it's down to business. It's time to just, we're going to set this league alight this year. We're going to hit off. We're going to start off on a cracking front foot, and we're just going to go for it. And then that's it. And that is it. We're going to set the standard right at the beginning of the season. And if we actually, I'm going to go 4-0. 4-0. We score 4-0 the first game of the season. There's teams out there will just go, right, it's going to be the same as last year. They're not going to cross the halfway line. And then it's going to be about us to break down them again. Lajkovic, Awata, CCV, Norrocky, Taylor, McGregor, O'Reilly, Hatati, Abaga, Kyogo, and Maida. Oh, now, if we were to get that keeper in, that's a bit of a team. Brendan Rodgers just wants to win 5-0. A few pints in Sersons. Norrocky and Starfelt will start in defence on Flag Day. Yep, because Big Carter Vickers isn't 100% fit yet. He has started training this week, so Brendan Rodgers will run the rule over him. It'll be interesting to see if he even takes him down to Dublin at the weekend. And anyone from the starting 3-11 says, can't wait for the season to start. 5-1 unless we get it. Can you really see Ross County scoring against us at home? Can you? Something today, can you? Can you really see? Mind you, it's happened before. Shut up, Baz. Sorry, guys. Still not convinced about. Oh, interesting. Even though that he scored, 7 goals last season from coming on as a substitute, and he done quite well. He didn't play a lot of games to score 7 goals. Albion Ajeti didn't score 7 goals the whole time he was at Celtic, and which tells me he's better than Ajeti. So 2-0 Celtic. Probably a reasonable shout, but we'll keep all these till next week. And a week on Friday, we will be doing a live at Friday, 6 o'clock. Could go on for an hour and a half just to make sure that we get as much info in. And we'll even do a little thing about setting up the team We have got just seconds left. So last orders at the bar, please. Ring the bell, ding dong. Oh, we'll be a different player playing under Rodgers. Brian Morrison says, with the side of cash, could be changing football into a Super League. And I think they will change it into a kind of Super League. But how long that lasts, it depends. They're going to throw money at it. And they have said that they want this 480 million TV deal. So, pardon me, you never know. So on that note, we are at the hour mark. There's 324 people still online. O is better than a Jetty, but so am I. Anyone was better than a Jetty. The last one has to go to Paul Baird. The ref will probably give Ross County a penalty. There's every chance that they might do. And you know how Scottish football is. It is just the way Scottish football is. So on that note, have a great day, night, evening, wherever you are, Celtic fans all around the world. And I'll see you on tomorrow morning's Celtic News video. And make sure that you give this video a big thumbs up if you haven't already. And I hope you enjoyed the new thumbnails. See you in the next video. Hail, hail.
Lit. Roll up to the party. Roll up to the party. Roll up to the